Today we are going to talk about chapter number 1 of introducing morphology. It is about what is morphology. So basically, what is morphology? Morphology is the study of word formation and study of the structure of word. It talks about how words are coined in a language, how words are formed in a language, and how words are used in a language in specific context. A native speaker of your language As a native speaker of your language, you have the intuitive knowledge of your language. That is, either you recognize the grammar of your own language, either you know the grammar of your language or not, but you can pass the judgment on whether some words or um, some sentences are correct or incorrect. Like, for example, if someone produces some words or some sentences, you can pass a judgment on those words or those sentences, that either those words are belong to your language, either that sentence is correct or incorrect in your language. So that kind of knowledge that you have as a native speaker of your language is called intuitive knowledge of your language. And you do have the ability to make new sentences, and you have the ability of making judgment on those words and those sentences, right? And what's a word? Then comes the next question: what's a word? Before defining the word, we have to define few linguistic terms, and the first term is morpheme. Morpheme is the smallest unit of language that has its own meaning. So here morpheme is defined as the smallest unit that has its own meaning. But here comes another confusion or another question, that is, like, for example, you have a word like beautiful. Beautiful has two morphemes, beauty and full. Now beauty can give you the meaning alone, but the full cannot give you meaning alone. When you attach full with beauty, it will give you the meaning, but full alone cannot convey any meaning. So here is the question. This is the big question, that how this definition creates the confusion. How full can give meaning alone? Few cannot, full cannot give you meaning alone. Sorry. And unhealthy, in unhealthy, un cannot give you meaning alone. Word as one or more morpheme that can stand alone in a language. Yes, word can stand alone. If a morpheme can stand alone, it can qualify as a word. You can call it a word. But if it cannot stand alone, like full and like un, it is not a word. When you attach these morphemes with other words like unhealthy and beautiful, then it can give you the meaning, and it qualifies as a word. Words that consist of only one morpheme are called simplest, simple or simplex, like beauty and health. Words that are made up of more than one morpheme are called complex, like unhealthy, unqualified, rethink, etc. Here are few examples of simplex words and complex words. Words and lexemes, types and tokens. Here is an example. My friend and I walk to class together because our classes are in the same building and we dislike walking alone. This is a sentence. If you count every instance of a word in this sentence, that is called token. If you only count a word once, no matter how many times it occurs in the sentence, you are counting word types. And total tokens in this sentence is 21, and total types in this sentence is 20. There is another way of counting the words, and that is called lexemes. Lexeme can be thought of as family of words that differ only in their grammatical ending, such as singular and plural form of class and classes. If you count the instance of class and classes as one in the above sentence, then it is lexeme. You are counting the lexemes. Present, past, and participle form of verb like walk, walks, walked, and walking, and different forms of pronoun like I, me, mine, myself. On the one way of thinking about lexemes is that they are the basis of dictionary entries. When you look into the dictionary, you will find a head word. So another way of looking is looking at the lexemes. But is it really a word? If it consists of morphemes, has a meaning, and can stand alone, does it qualify as a word according to our definition, even if it doesn't appear in the dictionary? The simple answer of this is that it is not the dictionary that determines whether it qualifies as a word or not. It is the intuitive knowledge of the native speakers who can determine whether it belongs to their language, whether it is a word of their language or not. You have a mental lexicon, the kind of intuitive knowledge of your language, so you can decide whether this word belongs to your language or not. It will be discussed in the next chapter. Why do languages have morphology? Here comes this question. One reason for having morphology is to form new lexemes from the old ones. Lexeme formation is one reason of having morphology in a language. Lexeme formation can do one of the three things. It can change the category of the word. It can change the category of word, like verb into noun, like amuse and amusement, verb into adjective, impress and impressive, noun into adjective, monster and monstrous. Some rules of morpheme uh, some rules of lexeme formation do not change category, but they can uh, add meaning, like happy and unhappy, orphan and orphanage, wash and rewash. And some rules of lexeme formation both change category and add meaning, like wash and washable. Now come to the topic, why have rules of lexeme formation? Imagine what it would be like to have invent a wholly new word to express every single concept. Then you will have a lot of words, and it will be like not easier for any foreigner to learn your language. So it also will not be easier for you to make the rules of morphology, or rules of making the words, um, rules of lexeme formation in your language. It would not be easier for us as well to understand the language, to make to make or to coin new words is not easier for us. So that is why we do have to have rules of lexeme formation in our language. On the other hand, we sometimes use morphology even we don't need new lexemes. When we change the form of a word so that it fits in a particular grammatical context, we are concerned with what linguists called inflection. Inflection word formation is word formation that expresses grammatical distinctions, like number, singular versus plural, tense, present, future, past, person, first, second, and third, and case, subject, object, possessive, among others. It does not result in creation of new lexemes, but merely changes the grammatical form of lexemes to fit into different grammatical context. We create different forms of noun according to a number, such as boy and boys. We mark the possessive form of noun with apostrophe s, like Hina's I. We have different forms of verb for present, past, and for present and past participle, like sing, sang, singing, and sung. And we use a suffix s to mark the third person singular of a verb, like she eats. So the crux of this uh, chapter is morphology is the study of word and word formation. In this chapter we have considered what a word is and looked at distinction between word token, word type and lexemes. We have divided word formation into uh, derivation and formation of new lexemes and inflection, the different grammatical word forms that makes up lexemes. Thank you.